I was called, and I'm gonna become a nun, and there's really nothing that you can say that's gonna make me change my mind.
Good afternoon, all of you. Since, unfortunately, God can't be here to run this convent himself, my voice will serve as a stand-in for his. You'll be spending the next 6 months as postulants. After that, you'll enter the novitiate. Any questions? Put your hand down, sister. Postulants don't have questions. And you are free to go home. What is this you're reading? Something to do with this Vatican II. Our Pope has suddenly turned himself into some sort of reformer.
Well, that's a good thing. Perhaps change is good.
You think the church is in need of change? I happen to think the church is perfect the way it is.
Maggie, congratulations for making this fantastic female-driven film. First off, I understand that Mother Teresa was indirectly an inspiration to this film.
Yeah, it was Mother Teresa, but specifically this book that I happened to pick up years ago, which is called Come Be My Light, and which was a compilation of letters that she'd written. Mm-hmm. And they kind of like really laid out the psychology of what it really means to be a nun, and particularly the romantic relationship with God as the husband in a literalized way. And so that was the new thing to me and utterly fascinated me. It still kind of does.
And can you relate to that relationship?
Yeah, totally.
Between nuns and Jesus or God?
Can I have
right, not you, but I'm saying like researching Mother Teresa's letters. Can you like kind of somewhat relate their relationship with God, like the romantic side when a lot
it felt
of nuns
exactly like the first couple of times I fell in love. So that's why I was interested.
Yeah.
Like it just was like, it made me wonder like how much of love is a projection, like all the same ups and downs and themes and like wild insecurities that you get when you first fall in love, or just whenever you're like in love, you're just, there's all this like euphoria and like these endomorphins like going off in your head and everything, but at the same time then there's like these crazy insecurity of like losing the lover or the lover losing interest in you, and they were going through those same patterns, and I was like, then that just means that this is across the board human, and that was touching.
Are you still encouraging all of your novitiates to perform extreme acts of penance?
I would like you to use the discipline on yourself.
That's got to stop.
I don't think you really understand what this will do to us.
We're not supposed to think about each other because we're not here for each other. We are here only for God.
Maybe I could just touch your hand for a second.
We're really not supposed to touch like that.
What is going on here?
She looks like she's dying.
I think it's wrong of you to keep us in the dark.
Margaret, fantastic job playing Sister Kathleen in this movie. What do you like most about your character, Sister Kathleen?
I think the thing that I was drawn to most was having, the opportunity to have essentially a love story with God. I thought that was really profound and interesting, and I think I also just loved, in a lot of ways, she's really fearless, I mean, she decided that she was going to do this thing, and she didn't let anything stand in her way, and she gave herself to it completely, and then, she listened to her instincts throughout, I think.
And how much preparation did you get a chance to talk to a lot of young nuns and former nuns and old nuns? Like, what was their experience like?
Yeah, we talked to a former nun. I forget her name. What was her name?
Marianne.
Marianne, yeah.
Former?
Yeah, she came and taught us.
From that time period, though, she'd been in the novitiate in the 50s, so she was teaching the girls what that was in particular was like.
Right, because it was different behavior in a cloistered nun in the 50s than there is now, obviously. But and that behavior included, like custody of the eyes, which essentially just means looking down because you don't want to take in any extraneous stimulation, anything that could distract from your relationship with God, and that also, not to speak unless you have to, and ideally to communicate via sign language, which she taught us. not Maggie. I was just referencing Mary Grace. That was her name, right?
No, Marianne.
Marianne.
And then there was
so bad.
Ruth. There was another sign language teacher named Ruth.
But Marianne did teach us like the
Yeah,
basic
yeah,
stuff too.
yeah.
But Ruth was there to like make sure we weren't doing it wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I want you to think for a moment, and then I want you to carefully list every single fault you're aware of in yourself.
I'm sorry, what?
What don't you understand? Are you perfect?
No. I don't know. What do you mean?
You're a perfect person, a perfect human being, perfect nun.
No. Of course not.
Wouldn't you like to be perfect? Don't you think you should at least try to be perfect?
Yes. If I could.
Maggie, I think anyone who sees this film will learn so much about the story, about nuns, about Vatican II, about life at the convent. What do you want audiences to take away from seeing this film, and the overall message that you want the audiences to know? What kind of message?
Well, I mean, it's really exciting because it's sort of like this very like obscure little detail of Vatican II. And Vatican II is like a huge historical thing that's like studied and still discussed and taught in school and all that kind of stuff. But this is like this little niche like consequence of it. So I think it's like exciting to be able to sort of share a detail of something everybody knows about, but they don't know about this part of it. And then, you know, the like more broader like universal coming of age themes about, you know, falling in love for the first time, and like it's so euphoric and idealistic, and then you kind of lose yourself and you lose your identity, and then you kind of have to figure out who you're going to become on the other side of that first relationship. And so her arc, Kathleen's arc, is like, you know, I think something that a lot of people have been through in their first love relationships or even contemporary love relationships. And so that was so, you know, historical and personal, emotional.
Great job, ladies.
The church gave me my work, my community, even my identity. And now the church is trying to invalidate all that, saying none of it matters. So my question is, what is it that really does still matter?